The Philippines is an archipelago nation filled with 7,641 islands across an area of 300,000 square kilometers. This makes it the second largest island country in the entire world, just beside Indonesia. This diversity in geography has brought in a myriad of unique offerings, from its culture to food and people. Yet, this perceived uniqueness is actually a problem to the very growth of its economy. It might even be among the reasons why the Philippines' economy has not yet reached its full potential, and it might also be a contributor to why there are so many people flocking into its metropolitan region. You see, a nation that has several islands within them means that transportation, a key economic activity and source of growth, is going to be difficult to achieve. Because the construction of roads, bridges, or even railways is likely going to be a lot more expensive than if it is done without the need for consideration of the bodies of water. I mean, we did see numerous numbers of government's infrastructure planning in the past already, where they tried and at some projects were successful in connecting island to islands. Yet at the same time, they were relatively expensive, and as the Philippines is still a growing nation, the affordability of the government to get all these bridges over waters are not really sustainable. One of the most notable occurrences in the past was the famous San Juanico Bridge. It connected the islands of Leyte and Samar by linking to the city of Tacloban to the town of Santa Rita. And it wasn't a very long bridge, it only stretched no more than 2,164 meters. Yet at that time, the construction cost had resulted in over $22 million. Adjusted for inflation today, it would have cost us over $246 million, presumably making it one of the most daring and expensive mega projects done at that time. And this is not even the only transportation link that we have seen so far. The government of the Philippines has constructed several more after this and is even looking to connect every single major island to one another, regardless of how far it is from each other. This ambitious idea of doing so is quite difficult and expensive. This is why we think that there is a flock of people in the metropolitan capital region of the Philippines. Locally known, it is among the most densely populated places in the entire world. This is happening because of the same idea. There is a lack of transportation from island to island, meaning that some islands are not seeing their economy grow. Hence, it is more difficult to be employed and their dreams are way harder or even impossible to achieve. This has then likewise had a domino effect on its issue. People flocking into the capital region increases poverty, pollution, traffic, and the list goes on. Fixing this is not really easy, as the Philippines is a one-of-a-kind country. Only a few other nations out there have relatively the same problem. But so far, what the government has done to fix all these geographical problems besides having the need to construct overly expensive projects is known as the roll-on and roll-off system, or RORO for short, which is also known as the Philippines Nautical Highway System. This framework, which was established in 2003, helped transportation in the Philippines by connecting major islands through the use of roads and ports by leveraging the use of cargo ships which are designed to carry cars, trucks, buses, and other land transportation systems. And since its establishment, the nation was able to easily reduce travel time across island borders by as much as 17 hours. This enhanced transportation was at the time a genius strategy. It bolstered inter-island trade, minimized expenses, and even improved tourism. It was among the first master plans that connected the three major island groups of the Philippines, from Luzon to the Visayas and then to Mindanao. Unfortunately, however, as good as it sounds, it was discontinued, and while it also might have been a great idea in the past, it wouldn't truly live up to today's standards, especially knowing that there are now emerging trends in creating better ways to combat this problem. What we think should be fixed in this, however, is not really as easy to point out. But thankfully, we now live in a more disruptive world than compared back to 2003. Construction, whether that is bridges, railways, or roads, or any form of transportation infrastructure, is now easier to construct than ever before. This is led by the availability that technologies are rapidly bringing into the hands of engineers. Hence why we are also seeing several plans from the government where they had laid out to construct mega bridges, some that stretch out more than 10 kilometers. It has also been seen that in a way to fix all these, the government has also been actively constructing aerial transportation. According to a report done by Fitch Solutions, they had found that the Philippines had become the second largest nation with a pipeline of airport projects across the entire Asian continent, with an infrastructure project total of about $33.9 billion, just behind South Korea and ahead of Vietnam. This has likely happened to enhance inter-island travel, not only for locals, but also for tourists. Although we did know that infrastructures are a geographical problem, that is not even the only issue that the country faces. There are far more major problems out there. We might say that the biggest issue is the construction of transportations, but then we also have other problems to address. These are known as the likes of illegal import and exportation, which has been one of the largest issues the country has faced, which has led to smuggling of different commodities. This has enabled the mafia, or whatever it is called, to easily sell their not-so-great products to people, which created a burden on society. Furthermore, while a not-so-great product might be the only idea that has come so far as to why people smuggle, it's not even the only one. There have been a number of trends in the past that shows that, from luxury vehicles to human trafficking and even smuggling prison inmates. How did all this happen? Well, as simple as it is, the Philippines has too many islands and it does not have the capabilities or human capital to protect and oversee every single occurrence that happens in each of these. Another set of problems is the continuous rise of illegal fishing, which, according to a report done by a professor from the University of the Philippines, has shown that illegal fishing is making the Philippines lose about $100 billion a year because it degrades the ocean's ecosystem. This has then pushed the Philippines to have poor ocean health, as the Ocean Health Index shows that the nation's ocean health has an index score of 63 out of 100, lower than the global average of 70. Moving on, while there are several issues that the Philippines faces with its geography, there are also advantages to it. We could attribute it to the fact that it belongs to the Association of the Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN for short, because this bloc is prepared to play an important role in the world's economy in the future. Or, as notorious as it sounds, there are also advantages in being very close to China. The import and exportation of goods and services would not be expensive and not lead to high costs compared to its relations with the US. But these are rather subjective, as some may note that while relations with China are good, they could also be bad. This could also lead us to say why the US had been keen on the Philippines in the first place, but then again, it had its own pros and cons. Regardless, the Philippines may face severe challenges, but we think that there is always room for growth.